This is Tim from PCXbox360.com. We're going to show you how to perform a landing using the Instrument Landing System, otherwise known as ILS. You see the overview of the aircraft, the interior. There's your ILS gauge. It's also known as VOR1. There's another VOR gauge, and that is the ADF. I usually set that just for fun. There's your radio. We're going to set that. That's a nav radio. We're going to set your autopilot. Right now you can't see it. I have gone to the map view. I am looking at the airport I'm at. This is Albany International Airport in New York. I am zooming in on the map, and I am picking up the ILS frequency. You're going to get an ILS frequency, and you're going to get an ILS heading. In this case, the ILS frequency is 109.5, and the ILS heading is 192. There's also some Morse code in there. You'll see when you actually tune into the ILS frequency, you will start to hear that. That is simply the ILS beacon broadcasting its identifier. So here we are setting the radio, the Nav1 radio, to 109.5. We're activating the Nav1 radio. We're setting the altimeter on the autopilot to 2,800 feet. That's where you want to be when you pick up an ILS beacon. You'll notice right there we're adjusting the heading on the ILS compass, where that's actually VOR, but it's also used for ILS. And we're going to set it on the ADF for, just for the hell of it. The ILS heading again is 192. And you can see in there we have our ILS set. That's actually wrong. I'm going to reset it in a minute or two. There we go. 192. We'll go down there and make sure that's at 192 as well. We're not going to bother getting clearance today since we are taking off and landing at the same airport. We're taking off on runway 1 there. You can see 109.5 is the nav frequencies, and Nav1 radio is activated. And our altitude is set correctly. You want to get that all ready to go. We're all set. Flaps are down. This is the Cessna C182S Skylane. When you do play Flight Simulator 2004, you want to make sure you select the version with the IFR panel. We are taking off now. We're rolling down the runway, getting ready to take off. Everything is set. And we're near takeoff speed, and we'll be leaving the ground shortly. There we go. We've engaged the autopilot, and it is going to take us to our destination speed altitude of 2,800 feet. Now, for the purposes of speeding up this demonstration, we don't want to hold you here any longer than we need to. We are going to forward the simulation rate to the point where we're going to get ready to turn back towards the airport. Here's the actual runway you're going to be using. It's 19. And our altitude there, we're approximately 700 feet. And you'll notice the ILS needles are no longer in the shape of a plus sign because we have left the airport. One of them's dead on, the altitude one is not, however. For the ILS needles, you have the one going horizontal is how you are lined up to the runway, whether you're left or right, and the one for going vertically does that. The one that's horizontal is your altitude. And when you're in the perfect glide slope, which is what an ILS system is, it generates a glide slope for a perfect landing. That should be in the form of a plus sign. Now we've gone ahead and increased the simulation rate just to get us out to a distance where we can turn around and activate the ILS. So we're flying away from Albany International Airport. believe we are at altitude. Now we're going to put the simulation rate to normal. We're going to make what I believe is a left-hand turn. And then we're going to activate the instrument landing system through the autopilot, hitting the approach hold switch. And what will happen there is the plane will begin to fly itself. What you need to do, though, about 500 feet, is you want to release the autopilot and land it manually. There are some aircraft out there, I don't think there are any in this particular simulation, that do have an auto land feature. The plane will actually land itself using an ILS beacon. So we've made our turn, we're turning the autopilot on, we're turning the altitude on, just to maintain that 2,800 feet, which we are at right now. And we are going to now click the approach hold button. The ILS beacon is now flying the plane. You'll see that the needles are going to start aligning themselves shortly. And you can just barely see Albany International out there in the foreground on the upper part of your screen to the left. We have let go of the stick. The plane is flying itself. Now this isn't going to be a detailed tutorial on how to use an ILS. There is absolute proper methods which a lot of pilots out there use. There is one video on YouTube that a gentleman did an outstanding job with. He is taking off from Greeley Airport. I was unable to find that. I thought it was the one in Colorado. There is no runway that matches the heading on the runway he was using. So here we are descending. We are in the glide slope. You'll see that the needles are a perfect, well, close to a perfect plus sign. And we are at the correct altitude and descending. We are lining up with the runway, and we are in the glide slope. Look out of the windows of the Cessna C182S Skylane. I actually had the privilege of flying one of these planes about a decade ago. My cousin Steve actually works for Cessna, and he took me up in a brand new 182, and it was a lot of fun. So here we are in final approach. As I said, we're not going to bother with the ATC system here. We have throttled back. The flaps are down. And apparently we throttled back a little too much as we gained a little too much altitude, and the ILS system is taking care of that. We're about to take control of the airplane. You can see we're at 600 feet. Once we hit 500, I am going to take control. You see the ILS has set us up dead on towards the runway. Here we are at 500 feet. I'm turning the autopilot off. Everything's off, and we're going to manually land the plane. Cut the throttle back, and we're going to glide this in for a landing. The throttle up enough just to make the end of the runway. We're going to pitch the nose up. And we're going to land right at the runway on 1902 heading. And we're going to stop the airplane. That was an ILS landing. And this is Tim from PC Xbox 360. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.